Coming up, a Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to second-degree murder while more members of his family wait on court proceedings in the same case.
Another quiet day on the Skywatch storm tracker, but the heat really starts to kick in. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And utility lines and potentially hazardous materials may be right under your feet. So officials with Spire Energy want to remind everyone to take precautions before you dig.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It is another pretty nice start to the day today, and we had a lot of fun down at the Ottawa County Fair.
It looked like you were having fun yesterday.
So the thing is, so people at home know, I couldn't hear you. This thing, the volume level was too low somewhere along the line, and so I could barely hear you. So when I went back and I watched our new newscast from yesterday, I was like, boy, those looked like some really awkward exchanges. But I wasn't just ignoring her, being like, tired of hearing Tanya today. I really couldn't hear half of what she said. But it's all right. It worked out. And
you faked it well.
I really did talk to ducks. There were two ducks in these cages, right? And they're in there, doing whatever. And then they were making some noises, so I made the same noises back. And then they stood up and marched right over to me and talked to me about I mean, I don't know what they were saying. One tried to peck at me, so I must have been insulting him. The other one was just having a good conversation. It was a lot of fun. So if you have an opportunity, make sure you get down to the Ottawa County Fair. Maybe you can talk to the ducks. Chickens did not have anything to say, and one tried to bite me, so.
Maybe they were jealous.
They might have been, because I didn't speak chicken very well. But I was apparently speaking duck very, very well, because they were just backing. I mean, they were just the whole time. And then as soon as I walked away, they stopped and they sat back down.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Chicken whisperer. No, sorry, duck whisperer.
Duck whisperer.
Duck whisperer.
Are you a quack?
I might be. I mean, you ask anybody here, and they're probably going to say, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I'm still here. Take a look at the Skywatch storm trackers. You can see, like yesterday, really nothing on it. The closest precipitation is this time up in northeast Missouri instead of southern Arkansas. 7th and range line, it's looking pretty good. Not many cars on the road yet, but as you know, they'll all start filtering in here soon. And look at this, 65 to start the day in Joplin right now. Across the area, we are all sitting in roughly the mid-60s with some lower 60s on the board. As we get through today, the skies will be clear. The hot temperatures build in with afternoon highs pushing the mid-90s. It won't cool off a lot very quickly, but overnight we'll get back down into the lower 70s and upper 60s. Not bad. And of course, Perseid meteor shower is peaking the next couple of days, so you'll still have some passing clouds, but not enough to completely obscure your view if you want to get out there and take a look at it this evening.
All right.
And then it really gets hot.
Is there a peak time to look at it?
I'm going to have to look that one up. I haven't had all my coffee. I haven't done all my research this morning. I focused on just, letting people know that unfortunately later we're going to talk about the 7-day, and you may or may not want to see it. It's got mixed blessings in it, so.
We'll look at the positive.
There's actually a fair amount of positive in the upcoming forecast, so just some rough patches to get through between here and there.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Well, a Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to a second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother Dakota are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. And you can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H, 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Authorities respond to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Passengers suffered moderate injuries. Continuing heat is making it hard for people to keep their grass healthy. Twin Hills Golf Course in Joplin is prepared for this and has a plan ready for the heat. General manager of the golf club says their superintendent takes a good care of the golf course, especially the greens, which are the most important parts for the golfers. If there was a lot of rain with the extreme heat, it could be worse for the greens than lack of rain. However, it is still costly to water often.
This time of the year when we get no help from Mother Nature, we have to help it ourselves. So we have irrigation lakes that we pump out of. It does cost us a little bit more in the summer to fill those lakes up with electricity, water. We hope that Mother Nature gives at least some water in our irrigation lakes.
Allen says even though it is more expensive to water the courses by themselves instead of with the help of rain, it gives them better control of how the course will look. Well, some residents of Miami are receiving very high monthly utility bills, as high as $1,100. Miami deals with its utilities by combining water, electricity, and other utilities onto one bill. City officials are updating the bill format to be transparent, and residents will see specific charges. City rates have not changed, but the GRDA increased its rates and charges.
The City of Miami has not had a rate increase for city electric or city water, and some of the charges that our citizens are seeing are being passed down from GRDA. That includes the purchase power adjustment as well as the PCAX charge that they see.
During the peak of demand for natural gas, GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. 811 Day is an annual initiative led by the U.S. Department of Transportation's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration to ensure the practice of safe digging is echoed in communities across the country. Now, officials with Spire Energy say it's an important message.
It's very important because there's a lot of utilities in the ground at this point. And it can create a safety hazard for the public, for you and the public, the person doing the actual excavating, and then people around that area.
For more information about safe digging and excavation, you can visit Spire's website. Coming up later in the show, our own Shagun Bamadeli digs deeper into this story.
As we head into the weekend, because that's now right around the corner, this week has flown by. It's going to be a hot one, 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday with some partly cloudy skies. But you know what? With it being so sunny and hot, it makes for great pool weather. Just make sure you wear your sunscreen. Don't do like I did and not wear it. Hey, you take a look at the 7-day forecast. High temperatures still pushing lower 100s by Monday, but then you see we've got a storm system that comes in, brings us rain chances, brings those temperatures down significantly into the upper 80s. And then we're back to the lower 90s, but then there's another storm system later next week that could really drop the temperatures for even just a brief moment, something better than what we've seen and something out of this world for August.
All right. Well, that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Carl Junction Bulldogs come off a disappointing football season, but this year they want to make sure their bite matches their bark. Chris has a preview in sports.
Plus, we'll introduce you to one drummer who converted an old ATM building into a practice area.
And an FDA emergency use authorization allows for monkeypox vaccine dosage to be 1/5 of what it was, which leaves some people wondering if that'll be effective enough against the virus. We'll have the details. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Carl Junction Bulldogs are nearing the end of their first week of football practice. The Bulldogs are aiming to bounce back this fall after going 3-8 overall last season. Carl Junction team sees the return of plenty of good players. They have 6 starters back on offense and 8 on defense. But the best news for Carl Junction is that the roster is growing, and that means fewer guys are going to have to play on both sides of the ball.
9 through 12, we have around 85 players, so that's pretty good numbers for us at the classification that we're in, Class 4.
We definitely don't mind playing both ways. We like playing as much as possible, but it's definitely nice getting a little break on the sideline. Give us some more stamina. We'll be able to play harder out there on the field.
Last year, I feel like in a lot of the games we played like a good first half. Second half, we fell off a lot because half the team was playing offense and defense. So this year, if we can have majority of guys playing one way, then we'll have a lot more energy in the second half, be able to finish games a lot better.
It helps a lot, especially for me. I'm a big guy, so I love it, but yeah, I don't mind playing 2 ways. I grew up that way, but I'd rather play 1 way.
If we're in the middle of the pack in the COC, we're the only Class 4 school. We play 3 6A schools and 6 5A schools. We don't play a 4A school until the playoffs. So, it's our backs are against the wall, in that aspect of it. But again, if our kids can go out and play in the middle of the pack, we may knock one of those big boys off. All right, and I think these kids have that capability.
Staying in the COC, the Neosho Wildcats are entering their second season under head coach Brandon Tout. Now, last season, Neosho was 1-9 overall. This fall, they returned some talented skill guys, including running back Jared Seiler, who rushed for 1,200 yards last year. They're aiming to take a jump in year 2 under Tout, and he says they're already in a better spot than where they were last fall.
Last year we came in, everything was brand new to us. We didn't really know the kids, and so we tried to kind of learn everything in a month or two. And so this year, all summer long, we already have relationships with the kids, and we know how everything flows here in town and have connections in the community. So we're just way more settled in.
Coach brought us all together, and it was a big jump from last year and this year. And we're close. We were close last year, but I feel like we're even more closer this year. So I feel like people are just getting after it. People are more competitive than I feel like we have been in the past, and it's more exciting this year to watch.
If you want to read more about Neosho, Carl Junction, or 61 other local football teams, we've got the perfect place for you to go. Our 2022 Pigskin Preview is out now. Like last year, it's fully digital. You can find it at KOAMnewsnow.com/pigskin, or see that little QR code there. If you scan that, it'll take you there. 59 local high schools, 2 junior colleges, and of course Pitt State and Missouri Southern. It's all in there. Check it out on our website or on the KOAM News Now app. Well, Kansas City Chiefs are just a day away from their first preseason game of the year. The Chiefs travel to Chicago to face the Bears on Saturday. Head coach Andy Reid said he expects the starters to play the first quarter on Saturday, including quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
I like to get hit at one time. So once you get hit one time, you kind of see what it is to get hit again as a quarterback. I feel like after that, you're good to go. But it'll be good to get in there with the new group of receivers that we have, all the running backs, and kind of show how we do it in the game. Because obviously we're doing it here at practice, but to show how we do it in the game before that first game against Arizona, who's a great opponent, I think will be good for us.
The St. Louis Cardinals have been on a roll the last 2 weeks. The Cards have won 8 of their last 9 games and have a 1-game lead for first place in the NL Central. St. Louis wraps up their 3-game series with the Rockies last night. Colorado, big 7th inning. Ryan McMahon solo homer. Rockies score 6 in the 7th to take an 8-2 lead. Same score in the 8th until Paul Goldschmidt drills a 2-run homer. That's number 27 for Goldschmidt. Cards cut the lead to 8-4. Next batter, Nolan Arenado, makes it back-to-back jacks, his 24th. Now they're within 3. 9th inning, it's 8-6. Runners on the corners, but Daniel Bard strikes out Arenado to end it. Cards drop the game and the series 8-6. Kansas City Royals try for their 5th win in 6 games against the White Sox. Vinny Pasquantino, he's been hot. Solo homer. Royals take the lead in the 2nd. On to the 5th, Andrew Vaughn with the liner off Zach Greinke. But Nate Eaton gets there for the catch. Great defense there for Kansas City. 7th inning, it's still 1-0, but Nicky Lopez finds the gap. 2 runs score on that. Later, MJ Melendez with the single. That brings Lopez in. Royals go up 4-0. It got closer, but the Royals hold on to win it 4-2. Well, still to come, Samsung's de facto leader receives a special pardon from South Korea's president in order to help the economy. We'll have the details. Now we're going to take a look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. It is a beautiful start to the day yet again across the 4 states. I hope you all slept well, maybe left the windows open, let a little of that fresh air in, kind of clear the air of the house out a little bit, because I know they get a little stuffy when it gets hot. We got to run the air and we got all the windows buttoned up. It's nice to air the place out every so often, and right now still a perfect time to do so. 65 in Joplin as we start this day. Most of us in the lower to mid-60s across the area. 63 Iola and Pittsburgh, 65 as we mentioned Joplin, 66 in Miami, and it is just a wonderful start to the day. Now as we go through the day, our first hot day starts now. We've got temperatures pushing into the mid-90s later today. Those hot temperatures building in. Skies will remain mostly clear with a very light southeast breeze, so the wind's not going to help you out a lot today. As we go into the overnight, temperatures will once again get back into lower 70s and upper 60s, so not too bad this evening. Partly cloudy skies and southeast wind again about 5 to 10 miles an hour as we head into the weekend, because we're not that far away from it. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday under partly cloudy skies. But here's the deal, it makes for great pool weather. Just don't forget the sunscreen. And a quick check of the 7-day forecast, because this is actually a very important 7-day forecast. So yes, we do heat up, and then we have storm chances build Monday into Tuesday into Wednesday. Check out what they do for temperatures, bringing them down into the upper 80s. We warm back up briefly on Thursday before another system brings us down possibly into the upper 70s by next week. And then we're going to stick in the 80s for next weekend. So this weekend is great pool weather. Next weekend may be great get out there and do something in nature weather. Well, drumming isn't something many people want to hear at all hours of the day in their own homes, and if you've got kids, you probably do anyway. But budding musicians in Colorado now have an outlet to bang on the drums all day, and they can do so in a very unlikely place. Here's a look at how a man repurposed old ATM houses as mini drum studios.
It's hard to have the place to put all of these parts, and then it's hard to travel with these, and then it's even harder to have neighbors that are understanding. Yeah, where I live I do have drums, but it's not always playable. Okay, my name is Mirna. I've been playing the drums since I was a child, but it was a hobby, and then recently, the last 4 years, I focused more on it to be more professional. This space is called Drum Box.
Yeah, that was also a walk-in ATM that was built in the 80s.
Jake is the founder and the owner of Drum Box.
Drum Box is a place for people to be able to play real drums out loud and have their own space to not bother anyone.
It's for me or people like me to come in and either practice in a place where no one is going to complain about the noise.
You book sessions online, you get the place to yourself, and everything's provided.
My main goal in life has been to empower women or people that are not seen, minorities, and so I've seen very little women play the drums, and maybe even less playing metal or extreme metal. It is important. It expresses who I am. It shows that women can do things. Me having a space to do that is necessary, because then that will guarantee that I'll continue to have a place to learn more, get better.
Yeah, that's the best thing. That's what makes me really happy and really excited, is just knowing when somebody is really getting use of the space.
That's pretty cool. There are 2 drum box locations in northern Colorado, and Jake Shell is working on another one in Nashville. So our question to you, can you play a musical instrument? Yes or no? You can vote, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Do so in the KOAM News Now app. And of course, share maybe what you play on our Facebook page in the discussion. We'll be right back with some Healthwatch right after this.
Topping Healthwatch this morning, a new strategy to stretch supply the monkeypox vaccine is approved this week. It allows for a much smaller dose, but does it provide the same amount of protection? Mandy Gaither has more on what health experts have to say.
It's a vaccine in high demand. As monkeypox cases continue to climb, supplies are being stretched. An FDA emergency use authorization now allows for doses to be cut to 1/5 what they were, allowing for 5 doses out of a standard 1-dose vial. But will it provide the same amount of protection?
There's a really good set of data from a wide set of vaccines, not just for smallpox, but also flu and rabies, that this way of administering vaccines can actually be more effective.
Monkeypox is a virus in the same family as the one that causes smallpox. For the smaller dose to be effective, health experts say it has to be given between the layers of skin rather than under the skin, as it had been given before.
It creates an equivalent immune response, and so therefore, quite likely, equivalent protection.
The FDA says delivering doses in this way has resulted in more redness, firmness, itchiness, and swelling at the injection site, but the agency says those studied had less pain and the side effects were manageable.
But we're taking a little bit of a leap here in recognition of the severity of the epidemic right now.
Officials say this move could increase the number of vaccine doses in the national stockpile from 441,000 to more than 2.2 million. However, there will be a learning curve.
The folks who are giving it are going to have to use different needles, draw up different amounts. So there's going to be an element of training that's going to have to go along with it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Others have expressed concerns about the dosing changes. In a statement, David Harvey, executive director of the National Coalition of STD Directors, says, quote, We have grave concerns about the limited amount of research that has been done on this dose and administration method, and we fear it will give people a false sense of confidence that they are protected, end quote. The monkeypox vaccine manufacturer also sent a letter to the White House expressing some reservations about the new strategy. That's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Skywatch storm tracker is quiet this morning, but in the next few days that will change. You have to go pretty far out like we did yesterday. Yesterday there was some activity in central and southern Arkansas. Now any shower activities confined up in northeastern Missouri. So we are dry and clear down here as we start the day in Joplin. It's 65 degrees with a light east breeze, so a very nice start to the day. All of us experiencing that nice start. We got the lower to mid 60s across the board. 62 Iola, 66 Yates Center. Warm spot in Chanute at 69, 63 in Anderson. Overall, not bad. Now, as we head through the day, the temperatures, this is our first really hot day compared to what we have seen as temperatures push into the mid-90s this afternoon. They'll start to build in under very clear skies like what we saw yesterday with a light southeast breeze that isn't going to do much for you. As we go through the overnight, not too bad this evening. Temperatures drop into the lower 70s and upper 60s with, again, another light southeast breeze. And as we head into the weekend, because it is almost here, I tell you, this week has absolutely flown by. It's going to be really hot. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday, maybe some passing clouds, but this weekend makes for great pool weather, which is very nice, but make sure you bring the sunscreen. Don't burn yourself like I did so you're not scratching your back on everything you can find in the building. Going through the rest of the week, hundreds again on Monday, but then we have storm chances that build in, and they'll carry with us through Wednesday, dropping temperatures into the upper 80s before the 90s make a return by the end of next week, and then maybe some more rain chances. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to second-degree murder while more members of his family wait on court proceedings in the same case.
Clear and nice start to the day across the area, but temperatures will be on the rise, the latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And utility lines and potentially hazardous materials may be right under your feet, so officials with Spire Energy want to remind everyone to take precautions before you dig.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:32. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Just so everyone, we've got these nice fancy TVs down here, so I like to check, just make sure everything looks all right. Check on the temperature, check on the time.
There we go.
Look at everything I need to keep up on. There's a lot of, we're a TV station, so there's a number of televisions around this
Make sure
building.
you don't have a hair out of place.
That is something I run into frequently, you know, you get that one just clump that comes out here.
The clump?
Yeah, cowlicks, I guess. Yeah, it's a more formal term, but
okay.
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. You've got more hair than I do. I think you probably know better about what I'm talking about. When I was younger, every time I'd get a haircut, I'd always get one right here.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be the spot that would just stand up, and no matter what I did, it would not lay down. It's beyond obnoxious. Now I don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
There are pros and cons to not having that much hair, and the pro is it takes like 5 minutes to do the haircut. I can do it at home if I don't feel like going out because it's extremely easy. And I don't have to worry about it getting too messy, and the wind doesn't mess with it either.
There you go.
So there's pros and cons. The cons is my head's very shiny on TV, and it is very exposed to the sun.
Well, you were talking about getting a sunburn recently, but luckily you protected your head.
I usually don't have to, surprisingly. It usually doesn't burn, which is really shocking to me, and I'm very happy about that. I mean, you know, but it is what it is. So as we start the day today at 7th range line, the skies are clear. It is nice. It is 65. Number of us sitting in the lower to mid 60s across the area. Iola and Fort Scott, some of the cool spots at 62. Otherwise, like I said, not bad. As we head through the day, though, temperatures will really heat up. Heading into the mid-90s for afternoon highs under clear skies and a light southeast breeze. And then we go into the overnight. Temperatures get back into the lower 70s and upper 60s to start tomorrow. And unfortunately, we are seeing triple digits on the horizon. We'll take a look at the weekend forecast and some storm chances next week. That'll give us a little bit of a break here in just a few minutes.
Before we have to focus on those triple digits, beautiful 80-degree temperatures today. You can't beat that.
Yeah. No, well, not today. That's next week. Today it's going to be mid-90s. it's not going to be so beautiful today.
True.
You're getting.
True.
Here's the deal. You're so excited about next week's
I'm ready for
temperatures.
next
You're
week.
already
I'm
ready
next
for
week.
it. So,
Well,
and I don't blame you.
Okay, temperatures in the 90s is going to feel like 80s compared to this weekend.
Yeah, compared to this weekend. I'll tell you all about that this weekend here in a little bit.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, a Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother, Dakota, are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. You can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. A crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Authorities respond to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger suffered moderate injuries. Some residents of Miami are receiving very high monthly utility bills, as high as $1,100. Miami deals with its utilities by combining water, electricity, and other utilities onto one bill. City officials are updating the bill format to be transparent, and residents will see specific charges. The city rates have not changed, but the GRDA increased its rates and charges.
The city of Miami has not had a rate increase for city electric or city water, and some of the charges that our citizens are seeing are being passed down from GRDA. That includes the purchase power adjustment as well as the PCAX charge that they see.
During the peak of demand for natural gas, GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. 811 Day means Dig Day. It's an annual initiative led by the U.S. Department of Transportation's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration to ensure the practice of safe digging is echoed in communities across the country. KOAM's Shagun Bamadelli has more on the story.
When you need help from the police, you call 911. Who do you call when you need help to ensure and practice safe digging? Today is 811. A day that reminds people to always call a toll-free number 811 before putting a shovel to the ground in order to ensure not to hit or damage a gas pipeline or an electric pipeline.
It's very important because there's a lot of utilities in the ground at this point. And it can create a safety hazard for the public, for you and the public, the person doing the actual excavating, and then people around that area.
Speaking to Mike Fronelli, the regional manager of Spiral Energy Southwest, he says incidents often occur when people fail to call 811.
Yes, unfortunately we have that situation probably too often. It's getting better. I think the whole industry, we strive to make that better as we go. I've seen a big change in it in the last 10 years. 811 has strived to have a more of a presence in our communities and make sure that we're trying to be safe.
Mike also tells us what to do if we hit a gas line.
Yeah, if you hit our line and create a leak, that we ask you to just back away from that area and call our emergency number and or 911. If for some reason you can't get our number, I would call 911 and they'll get a hold of us. And just make sure you back away and don't try to repair or slow the leak yourself.
For more information about safe digging and excavation, you can visit Spire's website.
It is going to be a hot weekend, as we talked about. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday, with partly cloudy skies and passing clouds. But you know, it makes for great pool weather. But the 7-day forecast shows us rain chances start building in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they bring those temperatures down quite nicely.
Well, this morning we are discussing playing musical instruments. In the case of Myrna Ashwa and Jake Shell, drums specifically. And Jake is the founder and CEO of Drumbox, a company that creates spaces for drummers to practice and not have to worry about bothering anyone. The space Myrna is practicing in is an ATM building from the 80s that Jake converted into a practice space. And now Jake and Myrna play the drums, but there are millions of people who have picked up any number of instruments, and you can beat strum, or blow into to make music. Are you one of them?
This is a musical instrument.
Does the air guitar count? No.
I don't know that you necessarily need a quiet space to do that, but
It depends if you make the noises with your mouth.
I know one melody on the piano. So
I took piano lessons for a little while, and I used to play the clarinet, but I'm not currently playing any instruments.
Okay, hold on. I have to take because these will bang on this desk. I'm gonna do the melody because no one's been able to figure it out, and then I heard it in a cartoon. But I have no idea what it is, and honestly, I have no idea where I picked it up. But it's sounds better on the piano. So if you can play a musical instrument, we want you to vote on our website through the app. Take part in the discussion on Facebook. So far, 33% of you are like me; they're not so musically inclined. Sorry, strike that, reverse it. 33% of you are unlike me, you are musically inclined, where 67% of you are like me, not so musically inclined. Make sure you vote on our website, the app, and take part in the discussion. We'll be right back.
Topping WorldWatch, Samsung's de facto leader, Jae Young, has been granted a special pardon by South Korea's President Yoon Suk Yeol on Friday. That's according to the country's justice ministry. Lee had been sentenced to 5 years in prison for embezzlement and bribery back in 2017, but some of those charges were thrown out by an appeals court, which suspended the sentence less than a year after he was jailed. Lee did, however, go back to prison in January of 2021 after a Seoul High Court found him guilty and sentenced him to 2.5 years. But he was later released on parole in August of 2021. South Korea's justice minister has said that Lee will be reinstated to, quote, overcome the economic crisis by revitalizing the economy. That's a look at one of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to a second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother Dakota are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. You can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Authorities respond to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger suffered moderate injuries. And a crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H, 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Well, some residents of Miami are receiving very high monthly utility bills, as high as $1,100. Miami deals with its utilities by combining water, electricity, and other utilities all into one bill. City officials are updating the bill format to be transparent, and residents will see specific charges. City rates have not changed, but the GRDA increased its rates and charges. During the peak demand for natural gas, GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We are starting off pretty nice across the area. You can see 7th and Range line. It's clear. Not much traffic right now, but all of us in Joplin, we know that that's going to change, and there's going to be more traffic than these roads know what to do with later. Until then, though, 65 is how we're starting the day under clear skies in Joplin. All of us starting the day in the 60s today. Iola, Fort Scott at 62, some of the cool spots. You get a little further south, you get some of the warm spots, say Miami at 66, 65 in Welch. And check out Veneta, 61 degrees, trying to battle the north for a cool temperature. As we go through the day, though, these cool temperatures will not last. Highs pushing in the mid to upper 90s as we press on through with a light southeast breeze under mostly clear skies. Heading into the night, a little reprieve from the heat. Temperatures get back into the lower 70s to upper 60s. So not too bad under partly cloudy skies, and that light southeast breeze sticks around. Now for the thing everybody wants to know about, the weekend. It's going to be hot. And I mean hot. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday with some passing clouds. As we've been saying this morning, it does make for great pool weather, but also make sure you put on the sunscreen. You do not want to come home with a sunburn because it's not fun. I'm sure some of you have had one, and you know it's not fun. Future track shows maybe a few passing clouds across the area, but otherwise, most of the cloud cover stays off to our east, and we just get nice and toasty as we head through the day and into tomorrow. And the Skywatch Storm Tracker here is not broken. There's just nothing to really show in our area other than high temperatures and then some increasing clouds Saturday evening. We go through the 7-day, we really heat up, staying hot on Monday, and then you see storm chances increase. And as this system moves through, it brings our temperatures down into the upper 80s. They warm up briefly on Thursday. Then another storm system could knock our temperatures down to the upper 70s for the middle of August with 80s by next weekend. So next weekend, be good weather to get out and enjoy nature. Today, go to the pool, or tomorrow, go to the pool. Next weekend, go enjoy nature. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Want to know what's new in movies and music?
Who doesn't? Well, David Daniel has the answer to both of those.
I am really good. I don't believe you.
Believe it. Michelle Yeoh is receiving massive praise for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And now she's set to receive the Kirk Douglas Award for Excellence in Film from the Santa Barbara International Film Festival. The award honors a lifelong contributor to cinema. The presentation will take place at a black tie dinner December 9th.
Lay down, Moonchild, and think about who you want to be.
I'm a 70-year-old woman trapped in the body of a 30-year-old who just needs a minute to rest! Oh my God! Somebody help me! This is not me!
Oscar winner Diane Keaton gets to channel an old soul 30-year-old in the new comedy Mac and Rita.
I thought it was fun. It was like an opportunity to try and feel what that could have been like, you know?
You can see what it's like when Mac and Rita opens in theaters Friday.
You're so conceited, but you're insecure. You're always busy, but you look so bored.
Yeah, I Like You is the first track on the Goo Goo Dolls' new album, Chaos in Bloom, available Friday. The band is touring the U.S. in support of the album. Check googooDolls.com/tour for show dates and venues. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Goo Goo Dolls, always good music, so. And
Well,
that song sounds pretty good too. So
those aren't the only new things going on. We've
No,
got a
they're not.
musical, a vampire flick, and superpowered kids adventure coming out of Hollywood.
The difference is this time, Rick Damigella has those details.
Evan, I know you'll miss your friends in school and bagels, but give it a chance.
The Broadway production of 13 the Musical featured an all-teenage cast with new characters added for the Netflix adaptation, including Rhea Perlman as the mother of Deborah Messing's character.
It was fun. You know, I'm a big Budinsky in it, and she's like, she can't stand it. You know, Ma, you know, give me some time. Okay, 5 minutes is up. You know, it's like...
First-time director J.J. Perry used some proven movie magic to create this memorable scene in the Netflix original Day Shift.
There's 4 there. There's an actress, a stunt double, a fight double, and then a contortionist. And then when you see her smashed into the table, we're not actually smashing her. We start her there on a wire, pull her out, and play it in reverse at a magical frame rate that I can't tell you unless you pay me a lot of money. So it's in camera, it's just done old school.
It's some kind of superhero lair. Your dad's a superhero.
What? No, my dad can't handle hot wings.
Owen Wilson is hiding something in secret headquarters. The superpowered adventure is now streaming on Paramount+. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
I'm still young at heart, so that last one looks really good. Secret Headquarters, I'm just like, that looks pretty cool.
I'm a super Owen Wilson fan, so yeah.
I always kind of expected to, you know, discover something like that at my parents' house, like in the garage or the attic. I did not. I found a swordfish that my dad had in the attic, and in the garage he had a lot of tools, but no secret superpower weapons or anything like that. But they were still, when you're a kid, those things were still cool anyway, so it's close enough.
I keep trying to tell my kids that I have superpowers, but they don't seem to believe me.
I can fly. I'm just kidding, I cannot fly.
Don't try.
No, do not try. I'll have to, at some point, I have to tell you about
Neither can
a
chickens on
flying
range
situation.
line.
No. So when that one chicken flew away in Chicken Gate 22, we realized it wasn't a chicken in a car. It was a sparrow or something on a power line. So we got to check the forecast right after this. We are starting the day pretty nice and pleasant across the area. 7th and Range Line, the sky is starting to lighten up a bit as the sun prepares to greet us on this Friday. And as it does so, it's going to warm us up, but not yet. Sun is still just getting up from its slumber, having its morning cup of coffee. So it's still 65 in Joplin. All of us in the 60s across the area. We've got 65 Yates Center, 62 Iola and Fort Scott, 65 in Welch, 66 in Miami, and 63 over in Anderson. Not bad to start the day. Unfortunately, once Mr. Sun gets up here and does its thing under clear skies, temperatures push into the mid to upper 90s. Under those clear skies with a light southeast breeze that, I mean, you could fan yourself and probably get a better breeze than what we're going to see today. Temperatures getting into the lower 70s to upper 60s as we go through the overnight, so not bad. Another opportunity to give your AC a bit of a break because it's going to need it before it really starts to warm up. Southeast breeze picks up just a little bit, so maybe you can get some fresh air through the windows in the house. Otherwise, have partly cloudy skies, and then what everybody wants to know about, how's my weekend shaping up? Well, it's shaping up to be pretty darn hot. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday under partly cloudy skies. But it's an awesome opportunity to hit the pool. More of the KOAM Morning News after this.
Coming up, a crash in Newton County takes the life of a 90-year-old Granby man.
The sun having his first cup of coffee before he rises to greet us and brings us warmer temperatures. We'll tell you all about it in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Grand River Dam Authority increases its rates and charges. And some residents of Miami now see a sharp rise in the cost of their utility bills.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. I'm feeling really I'm full of some energy today. I cannot sit still for some reason.
I told you to stay away from my Red Bull.
I just need to jog in place or something because so yesterday though, Tanya knows this, like there were commercial breaks where I laid on that couch and shut my eyes for 60 seconds. I was so
it's like
tired
a little kitten
yesterday.
Sleeping on the couch.
And I'm driving back from the Ottawa County Fair and I'm just, you're almost home. You're almost home. Don't fall asleep. And I got home and I napped for about 20 minutes before one of the kids comes up and goes, Dad, Ryan knocked my nightlight off. I'm like, is it an emergency? He's like, well, I need to get it back up there. And so, yeah, that cut short that nap, but because it was an emergency, apparently.
Yes, because at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you need your
you
nightlight
better believe
working.
it. It's got to be functioning. And you're going to need some nightlights right now because the sun not quite up yet, but it's on its way. We're starting off pretty nice in Joplin so far. 65 to start the day. And if you take a look across the region, we're all starting in the 60s. It's a beautiful, beautiful start to Friday morning. But it's going to get hot. So let's talk about how hot it's going to get. We're talking highs pushing into the mid to even upper 90s under mostly clear skies. There will be a light southeast breeze, but it's about the equivalent of me taking some paper and fanning Tana.
I got a new name.
Fanning Tanya. Doesn't work so well. But anyway, the light southeast breeze doesn't really do much for us. We go into the overnight. Temperatures will drop back into the lower 70s to upper 60s with that southeast breeze sticking around. And then the weekend. Everybody wants to know. We'll touch on that real quick. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday. Oh. So it's great pool weather. Just bring the sunscreen. Partly cloudy skies. And that is the beginning of a brief heat streak, hot streak, something like that, before temperatures start to actually look decent and we get rain, more rain.
Cooler temperatures and more rain, something we've been asking for all summer.
Yes, and that's the nice thing is, yes, we're heating up, but it's not lasting forever like it did in July, where it was just on and on and on with no breaks. We're heating up, we get breaks, and we'll talk about those breaks and what the temperatures are going to look like and what the rain's going to look like here in just a little bit.
All right, sounds good.
I'm going to go see if I can find another nightlight that maybe can't get knocked off. I'll be back.
Okay. You do that. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Authorities responded to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger suffered moderate injuries. A Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to a second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother Dakota are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. You can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, some residents of Miami are receiving very high monthly utility bills, as high as $1,100. Now, Miami deals with its utilities by combining water, electricity, and other utilities all onto one bill. City officials are updating the bill format to be transparent, and residents will see specific charges. The city rates have not changed, but the GRDA increased its rates and charges.
The city of Miami has not had a rate increase for city electric or city water, and some of the charges that our citizens are seeing are being passed down from GRDA. That includes the purchase power adjustment as well as the PCAX charge that they see.
During the peak of demand for natural gas, the GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. Coming up a little later in our show, our own Amber Jenkins takes a closer look at this story. Well, the Justice Department moved Thursday to unseal the warrant used by federal agents to search former President Donald Trump's home in Florida earlier this week. Washington Post reports some documents the FBI was looking for were related to nuclear weapons. Trump's legal team has until 3 p.m. Eastern Time today to decide whether it wants to oppose the motion. Dan Lieberman has the latest.
Former President Trump, via the Truth social media platform, said he encourages the release of the documents he described as, quote, related to the un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary break-in of his home in Palm Beach. Thursday, the Justice Department said it asked a judge to unseal 2 documents related to the FBI's search of Trump's Florida estate.
The department filed the motion to make public the warrant and receipt in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter.
Attorney General Merrick Garland said he personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant, adding that the Justice Department doesn't take such matters lightly. Agents were looking for classified documents that may have illegally been taken from the White House. Investigators first subpoenaed those records this spring. 15 boxes of presidential records were removed by federal authorities earlier this year and returned to the National Archives.
Clearly, Merrick Garland has thrown the gauntlet down and said, well, we'll show you our cards. Now your turn.
CBS News has learned that former Trump advisors have been questioned in recent months about how the former president dealt with sensitive materials and classified national security documents during and after his presidency. Dan Lieberman, CBS News.
CBS News has learned Trump's legal team is also discussing whether to publicly release video and still images of the search. 2 sources familiar with the former president's legal strategy tell CBS News that before executing the warrant, the FBI requested private security cameras at Mar-a-Lago be shut off. But sources say Trump's team refused to comply.
A look at the future track heading into tomorrow shows some increasing clouds, but otherwise a hot one with those highs pushing around 100 degrees, but it's the 7-day forecast I want to share with you. So yeah, it's hot Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but look at those increasing rain chances Monday through Wednesday, and look at what it does to the temperatures too. Highs pushing only in the upper 80s, lower 90s on Thursday, and then look at Friday. Another system comes through. It's the middle of August, and we're talking about temperatures maybe not even reaching 80 degrees by Friday, and then only the 80s by next weekend. So this weekend is pool weather, and if this forecast holds like it looks like, next weekend is enjoy nature weather.
Nice. I like the sound of that.
Get out all around.
I like the sound of that. All right, well, that's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a seafood and whiskey combo you might not expect.
Seafood boil in a bottle. I'm Elise Preston with how this uniquely flavored whiskey is bringing awareness about invasive green crabs along the East Coast.
Plus, authorities shoot and kill a man who allegedly tried to break into an FBI field office. This as anti-law enforcement rhetoric grows louder following Monday's search at Mar-a-Lago.
And a new study takes a look at pregnant women who have received mRNA COVID-19 vaccinations and says these vaccines are safe. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, New Mexico authorities are making significant progress in the investigation of the fatal shooting on the Rust movie set. Santa Fe Sheriff's Office received forensic reports from the FBI, which included firearms and ballistics analysis. Investigators say they're also finalizing their review of latent fingerprints and DNA evidence. All that remains now is working with Suffolk County, New York authorities to review actor and producer Alec Baldwin's phone records. Once that process is complete, the case will be handed over to the Santa Fe County District Attorney's Office to make a charging decision. Cinematographer Helena Hutchins was shot and killed on the set of Rust in October when a firearm held by Baldwin went off as they were rehearsing a scene. A man accused of threatening to detonate a bomb near the U.S. Capitol almost a year ago will be released from jail. A judge determined Thursday that Floyd Roseberry was suffering side effects from improper medication at the time of the incident. Roseberry's lawyers say the 50-year-old suffers from mental health issues due to traumatic childhood. Psychologists told the court 2 of Roseberry's drugs have adverse side effects when taken together, could cause manic and psychotic episodes. Psychologists said that was likely the case when Roseberry drove from North Carolina to Washington, D.C. last August and falsely claimed he had a bomb. He will be released under house arrest and will be monitored by an ankle bracelet. Well, after Monday's search at Mar-a-Lago, anti-law enforcement rhetoric online is growing even louder. On Thursday, an armed man in Ohio allegedly attempted to breach an FBI field office, leading to a shootout where the suspect was killed. Jeff Pegues is in Washington, D.C. with the details.
Police say the heavily armed gunman drove up to the FBI building in Cincinnati around 9:15 this morning with a nail gun and an AR-15 style rifle. When armed agents confronted him, he fled and led police on a high-speed chase down Interstate 71, which ended in a gun battle in a field near Wilmington, Ohio.
Gunfire was exchanged between officers on scene and the suspect.
The attack comes after the FBI's search in Mar-a-Lago prompted calls for civil war and violence on social media. Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell received this threat.
Swalwell's a worthless piece of.
We've never seen a moment like this before that came from radical supporters of President Trump and a wide range of extremists across the sort of MAGA movement.
With threats increasing, DOJ officials removed information about the judge who signed the Trump search warrant. Today, the Attorney General defended the agents and prosecutors.
In Washington, city officials have been monitoring potential threats related to the search at Mar-a-Lago since Monday. Some of the threats are similar to chatter law enforcement saw leading up to January 6th. That's a look at today's top national stories. We'll be right back. Warming ocean temperatures from climate change are causing the European green crab population on the East Coast to explode. And now a New England distillery is harvesting the invasive species for a new kind of whiskey. Elise Preston went to Tamworth, New Hampshire to give it a try.
A good sniff.
At Tamworth Distilling in Mercantile, Will Robinson is introducing visitors to his small batch handcrafted whiskey infused with flavors from the ocean.
And what am I tasting?
You get the whiskey and then you get the, once you swallow it and you get it down, you get kind of some of the butteriness of the meat.
The meat comes from European green crabs, harvested along the New Hampshire coastline. The first batch of Robinson's Crab Trapper whiskey sold out shortly after hitting distillery shelves.
What has the response been like?
Insane.
The unusual whiskey crab pairing isn't just about flavor. Robinson is helping control the green crab population.
Their sheer numbers are kind of throwing things off, not leaving enough food for in one place in the ecosystem, and then just wreaking havoc in other ways.
The European green crab arrived on the East Coast about 200 years ago after hitchhiking on boats from overseas. Recent warming sea temperatures have caused the population to increase dramatically, and it's now one of the most invasive species in the U.S., threatening communities of oysters, clams, and mussels.
We don't get the really long, cold winters anymore. And so they can start mating and reproducing and doing all what they need to do earlier and longer.
Gabriella Bront with the New Hampshire Sea Grant says green crabs are tough to eat because they have a very hard shell and very little meat. She's working to find a way to identify when the green crab is about to shed its hard shell. A new soft shell means the whole crab can be eaten.
You know, get people a taste of a really good seafood product. We do a pretty good job eating eating down populations.
They're already on menus in New England and now in a whiskey.
It's an experience that brings about environmental awareness.
Awareness Robinson hopes will push others to deal with invasive species across the country. Elise Preston, CBS News, Tamworth, New Hampshire.
Gabriella Bratt says there are trials underway to turn the green crabs into other products, including pet food and fertilizer. Bratt says all the efforts being made in New England will help scientists control the growing population of the invasive green crabs now seen on the West Coast.
Skywatch storm tracker is clear yet again today, and it will remain that way for the next several days, but that will change. You've got to go pretty far out to find a scattered shower or two in northeast Missouri, and that's really all that's happening, and that's really all that's going to happen the next few days. 7th and range line, look at the sun coming up. It's looking really pretty this morning. It's a very nice Friday morning. 65 in Joplin right now, and of course it feels like 65 with a calm wind. All of us in the 60s to start our day. 62 in Iola, 69 in Chanute, 64 Welch, and 63 in Anderson. Now as we go through the day, it's going to heat up. This is the start of our hot days that we have ahead of us, but not nearly as hot as it's going to be. So we're talking mid to even upper 90s possibly, under mostly clear skies with a light southeast breeze, and this is again when these temperatures really start to warm up. Overnight though, we do get a break, which is nice. We're talking lower 70s, upper 60s. Light southeast wind sticks around. Partly cloudy skies, so if you want to see the Perseid meteor shower, there will be some passing clouds, but nothing that will completely obstruct your view. So you should be all right. Now the weekend, oh boy, that's when it starts to get really hot. We're talking 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday. Sunny, hot, some passing clouds. Does make for great pool weather. But as we've been saying, make sure you take that stuff you put on your skin, sunscreen. It's early in the morning. Sometimes words escape us. Sunscreen tomorrow if you do head to the pool or have any outdoor activities. Future track shows us not really much going on. Most of the clouds stay to our east. We do have some increasing clouds as we head into the day on Saturday. And of course, as I mentioned, those temperatures getting right on up there. But it's the 7-day I want to talk about real quick. So yes, hot tomorrow, hot Sunday, and unfortunately, hot Monday. But storms start to build in. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they bring our temperatures down to the upper 80s. A brief rebound on Thursday, and then another storm system expected by a week from today. Could have our temperatures in the upper 70s in the middle of August before we rebound just into the 80s for next weekend. So not bad if we can just get through this brief hot stretch. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, a crash in Newton County takes the life of a 90-year-old Granby man.
Plus, we've got a pretty nice start to the day across the area as we start in the 60s, but it's going to be a big hot one. We got the latest in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the Grand River Dam Authority increases its rates and charges, and some residents of Miami now see a sharp rise in the cost of their utility bills.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So I was just coming over here to tell Tanya the thing is broken.
The thing?
The weather computer is broken. So I'm going to attempt to fix that real quick. We can take a look at least at current conditions right now in Joplin. It is 65 as the sun rises. The battery's not dead in the little remote, so something's just up over here. So we're gonna go press some buttons here and see if we can't make it a little bit happier, see if we can get it going again. All right. Well, the remote is, hold on, did I press a button On the, no, I don't know. Well, okay, so the remote's not working anymore, but that's all right. So as we mentioned in Joplin, it is 65 degrees as we start the day. Most of us starting in the 60s. In fact, all of us starting in the 60s. 62 Iola and Fort Scott and Jay, Oklahoma. 61, the cool spot in Bonita right now. 60 in Sedan, so they're the cool spot. Otherwise, not bad to start the day. As we go through the day, temperatures are going to warm up into the mid to upper 90s. Under mostly sunny skies with a light southeast breeze. I'm still trying to fix this thing. I don't know what's going on. The weekend forecast, though, 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday. Sunny, hot. It's going to be that way for the next few days, unfortunately. But as we've been mentioning, it does make for great pool weather. We do have some additional hot days, and then we also have a break from this heat, so we only have to endure it for a little bit. And then it's going to get pretty darn decent, as you can see on the 7-day forecast there. So we got to get through now, and then we got, and even that 7-day forecast is not the right one. So I'm going to go solve this problem and see what's going on with this technology over here. And
I'll do some news in the meantime.
It's lighting up, so, okay. Well, now it's doing something else on a computer it shouldn't be, but it's not doing the thing it's supposed to do. I'll go figure it out. Anyway, we'll figure it out, but it's going to be a hot weekend before we get some rain chances next week.
There we go. All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Authorities respond to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Passengers suffered moderate injuries. A Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to a second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother Dakota are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. And you can read more about the case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. We're all experiencing higher utility bills due to the extreme heat. However, residents of Miami are experiencing high utility bills with an extra charge. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to city officials for an explanation.
Residents of Miami, Oklahoma are receiving higher than usual utility bills. City officials said the reasonings for the higher utility bills caused a perfect storm. In 2021, a winter storm caused headaches for many cities due to the high demand of natural gas, but not enough supplies. Grand River Dam Authority supplies the city with utilities using natural gas, which leads to the city owing $2.7 million to GRDA. This year, the Tribe of Miami gave the city $1.7 million as an advance utility payment to cover the power adjustment costs from the GRDA. However, all residents within Miami city limits have to pay the monthly power cost adjustment until the $1.7 million is recovered to recoup the utility credit given to the tribe. This appears as a PCAX on the utility bill. The other $1 million was paid from Miami commercial businesses. City officials admit this is confusing. That's why they recently released a new format of the bill to be more transparent to residents.
You will also see your specific electric charge based on your usage. So this new bill format breaks down each individual charge. It gives you a little bit more explanation. We also are going to start including the electric rate that is set by the City of Miami, as well as the charges that they're getting from GRDA, and we are going to include the rate at which those are charged as well on their bill.
The City of Miami is offering some assistance to residents.
You know, if somebody's not able to pay the full amount, you know, we will do everything in our power to work with them and get them set up on payment plans. Now, of course, there are factors that go into consideration when it comes down to the debt payment plans. Customers can only have one at a time. So if they are already on a debt payment plan, you know, that's not something we can utilize. We also have, you know, the average monthly plan, and we can kind of combine the offers as well. So the average monthly plan in combination with the debt payment plan. But again, every case is different.
Reporting in Miami, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
During the peak demand for natural gas, the GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. The continuing heat is making it hard for people to keep their grass healthy. Twin Hills Golf Course in Joplin is prepared for this and has a plan ready for the heat. General manager of the golf club says their superintendent takes good care of the golf course, especially the greens, which are the most important parts for the golfers. If there was a lot of rain with the extreme heat, it could be worse for the greens rather than lack of rain. However, it's still costly to water often.
And no help from Mother Nature, we have to help it ourselves. So we have irrigation lakes that we pump out of. It does cost us a little bit more in the summer to fill those lakes up with electricity, water. We hope that Mother Nature gives at least some water in our irrigation lakes.
Allen says even though it is more expensive to water the courses by themselves instead of with the help with rain, it gives them better control on how the course will look. 811 Day is an annual initiative led by the U.S. Department of Transportation's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration to ensure the practice of safe digging is echoed in communities across the country. Officials with Spire Energy say it's an important message.
It's very important because there's a lot of utilities in the ground at this point, and it can create a safety hazard for the public, for you and the public, the person doing the actual excavating, and then people around that area.
For more information about safe digging and excavation, you can visit Spire's website. Well, this morning we have been discussing playing musical instruments. In the case of Mirna Ashoa and Jake Shell, drums specifically. Now, Jake is the founder and CEO of Drumbox, a company that creates spaces for drummers to practice and not have to worry about bothering anyone. The space Mirna is practicing is in an ATM building from the 80s that Jake converted into a practice space. Now, Jake and Mirna play the drums, but there are millions of people who have picked up any number of instruments you can beat, strum, or blow into to make music. We want to know if you're one of them.
So our question is very straightforward. Can you play a musical instrument? Yes or no? So far, 60% of you say you can't, but that does mean that 40% of you say that you can. We want you to vote, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Do so in the app, and then take part in discussion on the Facebook page. Maybe you can learn a new instrument.
Have you ever played the spoons?
No. Well, okay, maybe when I was a kid.
We actually had a guy in my hometown who gave lessons on playing things like spoons and on the washboard and stuff like that.
Okay, well, when I played on the spoons as a kid, I was just banging them on the table.
Oh, no.
My second grade teacher, though, at Cecil Floyd, could play the hammered dulcimer.
Ooh.
And she brought it in a couple of times and played, and it was a beautiful instrument, and she played very well.
Very cool. All right, well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. If it's Friday, that means our own Shannon Becker is in studio bringing us the big 3 stories of the week.
As a matter of fact, he's here right now, standing right over there. Plus, we take you to Colorado to introduce you to a drummer, as we were talking about, who's converted an old ATM building into practice space. And as we've been asking, can you play a musical instrument? Make sure you vote.
Shared. Well, welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in studio this morning, and that means it's time for the big
Da-da-da-da! Yes, I like that font.
Yeah, I like you.
Well, thank you. Let's keep it rolling, all right? The number 3 story this week, most watched, most shared, what everybody's talking about. This is Monday morning. A dump truck goes off I-44 just to the east of Range Line and crashed and burned. Wow. Driver was actually not injured. I was there and he was getting his blood pressure checked and he's like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay. So it crashed and then it started to catch fire. So he had time to get out, climbed out the windshield. Reddingsville Fire Department, Joplin Fire Department were there.
I'm sure he was in shock a little bit.
Oh,
was
I
he
bet.
able to share any of his experience with you?
Oh, just that, he was glad he was all right. He was going home. Our number 2 story. A man was killed on a Baseline Boulevard crash. Carthage man was killed about County Road 150 as he was traveling westbound the other day. The man from Carthage died at the scene. As that truck rolled over, he was thrown from the truck. It's one of those areas where there's a lot of crashes under investigation. And our number 1 story, kind of creepy. You heard this one, stranger with candy approaching kids. Police say this is the man in Cherokee, Kansas, had talked with children at a park there and said, hey, if I come by your house, I'll rev the motor of my, whatever Barbie car that is and come out. He was in his underwear too. giving kids candy. Well, he is known. He just had a 20-year sentence as a convicted sex offender. Was convicted in 2002, off of probation in 2022. They are looking for him. No charges necessarily, but that's obviously bizarre behavior, right?
Yeah, it's not exactly illegal to give candy to kids.
No.
But we warn our kids, don't take candy from strangers, and this is literally what happened.
The Crawford County Sheriff released this information, and literally it seems like it's made up to me, but obviously
it's true.
it's not.
I'm friends with the family of one of the kids.
That is insane.
Yes.
And
scary.
our bonus story of the week, it's bittersweet. She battled breast cancer since 1992. Olivia Newton-John, she died on Monday. And just by chance, the 66 Drive-In Theater had already planned to show Grease this weekend. And Footloose is part of that double feature. It's a flashback weekend they like to feature every year during the summertime. If you haven't been to the 66 Drive-In, here's a great excuse for you. It's all nostalgic. Even in the intermission, they show the cool, 1960s and 70s little commercials and stuff like that. But this weekend, everybody will be remembering Olivia Newton-John. Big Grease fan? Did you ever like Grease?
Yeah, and I especially like the drive-in scene. So.
Well, did you ever like to, let's get physical? I'm sure, back. You weren't even born then. Were you? No.
I was born for Let's Get Physical, but Grease did come out before.
Remember she had those headbands? You should try those again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go for it. That's a big 3. Joplin News First. You can see us at KOAM News Now online.
All right, thank you so much for sticking around, and we'll check in with you on KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 as well. We'll be right back. We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Petty Officer 2nd Class and Intelligence Specialist Rodney Edwards. The Joplin, Missouri native served as part of the 524th Military Intelligence Brigade and earned multiple awards, including the Global War on Terrorism Medal, 2 Navy Sea Service Deployment Medals, and 3 Navy and Marine Overseas Service Ribbons. To Petty Officer 2nd Class Rodney Edwards, we thank you. Today's 4-state hero.
On this beautiful Friday, we have a long list of birthdays to celebrate, so we're going to dive right in with Tobias Borland, turning 2 years old over in Carthage. I love that shirt. It applies to most children, I've noticed, and sometimes it even applies to me because it says Wild Thing. I can be a little bit wild sometimes. This morning's one of those mornings. Tobias, happy birthday to you.
Wild or wily?
It says wild.
No, I know. I'm just describing you.
Oh, well, it could be either or, really. It depends, I guess, on the day of the week.
All right, Baker Hilburn turning 4 years old this year. Looks like she's been to the beach recently. Awesome picture there for Baker in Seneca. Birthday love coming from the family.
We've got Bryson Royer turning 7 over in Oswego with an excellent catch. And on top of that, he's doing it safely. He's got his life jacket on. Bryson, a very happy and safe birthday to you in Oswego.
All right, in Girard, Spencer Kramer turning 8 years old this year. Happy birthday, Spencer.
And then we've got Aniston Kelly in Uniontown celebrating birthday number 13 today. Happy 13th birthday to you, Aniston.
All right, and from Parsons, Meadow Scott celebrating birthday number 21. She proudly attends college at University of Kansas. Happy birthday, Meadow.
We've got Robert Kinzer turning 53 years old in Edna, Kansas. A very happy birthday to you, Robert.
And we have Joe Watson, who's celebrating birthday number 54. I hope where that picture is taken means he got some ice cream for his birthday. Joe is celebrating in Neosho.
We've got Chuck Chandler over in Chanute turning 69 years old today. A very happy birthday to you, Chuck.
In Pittsburgh, Mavis Benner, happy birthday.
And we've got some anniversaries as well. Fred and Angie Edwards in Crestline celebrating their 16th wedding anniversary today. Happy anniversary to you too.
And in Moundville, Stan and Barbara Watkins are celebrating number 27. Oh, look at them still kissing. The Watkins are in Moundville.
Then we've got Barbara Reeves in Miami celebrating a birthday today. We also have Shelby Johnson in Girard turning 28. Stanley Ryan in Crestline. His birthday was yesterday, so that just means he gets to celebrate twice as he turns 81. And BJ McDermott in Crestline as well, celebrating a birthday.
All right, in Weir, Kansas, Ella Buzzard, happy birthday to you. And Bob Kimmick, celebrating a birthday in Hepler, Kansas, with love from family and friends.
And last but not least, we have Billy Davidson celebrating a birthday over in Chanute. See, Billy, you got a whole screen all to yourself. Happy birthday, Billy.
All right, if you have a birthday or an anniversary, you can submit them to us through our email at birthdayswithans@koamtv.com or log on to our website at birthdays@koamnewsnow.com and send them to us that way.
And of course, while you're there, make sure you sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. When you do so, you get some great deals from local businesses. All you need to do is go to koamnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club. Quick check of the forecast. It's going to be hot as these warmer temperatures build in. Afternoon highs pushing the mid to even maybe upper 90s under mostly clear skies with a light southeast breeze. Going into the overnight tonight, temperatures will gradually cool off in the lower 70s and upper 60s. So again, not a bad evening. Good opportunity to give your AC a break with partly cloudy skies and that southeast wind out there. And then the weekend, hot. 100 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday. It will be sunny, it will be hot, maybe some passing clouds, but it does make for great pool weather. More of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Grove, Oklahoma man pleads guilty to a second-degree murder charge. Authorities say Cody Buzzard helped kill Jerry Tapp in August of 2019. Buzzard's father, James, and his brother, Dakota, are also charged in the case, but are still awaiting court proceedings. You can read more about this case on our website at koamnewsnow.com. Authorities respond to a crash Thursday morning. They say the 16-year-old driver was driving a farm vehicle when he went off the road and overturned in Phelps, Missouri. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The passenger suffered moderate injuries. And a crash in Newton County takes the life of a Granby, Missouri man. Authorities say 90-year-old George Eads was traveling east on Highway H, 4 miles east of Neosho. When he turned, he failed to yield for another vehicle that hit him. Eads was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver received minor injuries. Well, some residents of Miami are receiving very high monthly utility bills, as high as $1,100. Miami deals with its utilities by combining water, electricity, and other utilities onto one bill. City officials are updating the bill format to be transparent, and residents will see specific charges. The city rates have not changed, but the GRDA increased its rates and charges. During the peak of demand for natural gas, GRDA raised its prices by more than 200%. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And the forecast as you head out the door, make sure you're prepped for it to get hot because that's what it's going to do. Afternoon highs pushing the mid to even upper 90s for some of us. Under mostly clear skies with a light southeast breeze. As we go into tonight, temperatures will gradually drop off in the lower 70s and even upper 60s. So again, not too bad. Maybe give your AC a break because it's going to need it. And the weekend, and here's why your AC needs this break. Check out Saturday and Sunday, 100 and 101. Partly cloudy skies, otherwise sunny and hot. Does make for great pool weather, and a quick check of the 7-day forecast shows us temperatures stay hot through Monday, then rain chances build in at the first part of the week. Temperatures drop back into the upper 80s for afternoon highs. A brief rebound on Thursday before another system could bring us into the 70s in mid-August on Friday, and then it doesn't really heat up that much by the time we head into the weekend, but with looking at 82 on next Saturday and 87 by next Sunday. So hopefully that pattern holds because it would be a nice mid-August. I mean, that's going to start to feel like mid-September.
Oh, yeah.
And we got rain built into this, so that helps too.
All right. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making lemon refrigerator bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Do you ever feel mom guilt or dad guilt? Well, you're not alone. Ahead on CBS Mornings, psychiatrist Dr. Sue Varma explains the psychology behind the guilt and how to ease it.
Or you could switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got Galen Zook and Don Bach. pulling into the studio to tell us about an upcoming tractor pull event that promises to be a good time and for a good cause.
Plus, Jeannie Moose brings us the story of a wild goose chase, only this time it's a turkey. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here Monday morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it all again today at noon.